In today's strategic briefing, we're addressing one of the most common and most expensive mistakes that business owners make when growth starts to feel heavy. When pressure increases, most owners assume the same thing. We need more leads, marketing isn't working, or sales needs fixing. But in most cases, that conclusion is very wrong. In this briefing, I'm going to walk you through how to tell the difference between a true demand problem and a broken operational flow problem, because those require very different decisions. By the end of this episode, you'll clearly see why growth pressure is so often blamed on marketing, how operational flow breaks long before revenue stalls, and how to stop scaling volume into friction. Welcome to the Strategic Briefing, where we cut through surface problems and uncover the moves that top CEOs use to scale with confidence. This series is about helping you see past the obvious explanations and identify what the business is actually asking for next. Here's the pattern I see constantly. Growth increases, pressure rises, delivery tightens, and decisions slow down. Almost immediately, owners jump to one conclusion: we need more leads. But here's the truth. If demand were the real problem, pressure wouldn't exist downstream. Pressure only shows up when demand meets resistance, and that resistance almost never lives in marketing. Now, before we go any further, there's an important checkpoint to make on this topic. Because once the problem is misdiagnosed, every move after that gets more expensive. This week's framework fix is called the Growth Misdiagnosis Detector. It helps you answer one critical question: is demand actually the constraint, or is growth already exposing broken operational flow? This isn't theory. It helps you see whether leads are the real bottleneck or whether internal flow is creating false signals. And where pressure is being misread as a sales problem, you'll find the link in the description. Use this as a lens while you watch the rest of this briefing, because everything that follows only makes sense once the diagnosis is clear. Operational flow is how work moves through the business once demand shows up. It includes things like how work is handed off, where decisions get stuck, and how often work has to get done. When flow is healthy, growth feels challenging but manageable. When flow is broken, on the other hand, growth feels chaotic, even at modest scale. That's why adding demand too early doesn't fix pressure, it multiplies it. Sales gets blamed because it's visible, it's measurable, it's easy to point at, and it's emotionally safer than admitting the system is straining. But what's really happening is simple. Work is piling up between steps. Decisions are escalating instead of resolving. Rework is being normalized, and the owner begins compensating for structure gaps. Sales isn't creating the pressure, sales is revealing it. True growth constraints don't sound like marketing issues. They sound like, we're busy, but margins are slipping. Everything feels urgent. I'm involved in more decisions, not fewer. And my favorite, the team is working hard, but progress feels heavier. Those aren't lead problems. Those are flow problems. When growth is misdiagnosed as a sales issue, owners add demand too early. The teams get overloaded and quality drops. The business doesn't break because it grew. It breaks because it grew in the wrong order. Use this briefing as a filter. Before you invest in more leads, ask, where does the work slow down first? Where do decisions pile up? Where does effort increase without leverage? Where am I still acting as a system? Those answers tell you where growth is really being constrained. In closing, growth doesn't fix broken flow, it amplifies it. And the fastest way to waste money is to scale demand into resistance. Use the growth misdiagnosis detector to get your clarity first. Then make decisions that actually reduce pressure instead of multiplying it. I'm Randy Bridges, and this has been your strategic briefing, where we cut through surface problems and uncover the moves that top CEOs use to scale with confidence. I'll see you back here next weekend.